Slàinté, y'all, and welcome to Tuesday and Happy New Year to everyone. Welcome to the first Scotch on the Bayou live show of 2023. Where's time going? Poof, in a bottle, in a couple of bottles. We'll talk about tonight. I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday. And I'm so stoked to be back with you. We're off last week, and it was a little odd not to do a show, but I got to see one of my bestest friends and have some fun with her. And so that was a good time to just check out for a little bit in the holidays. But just want to come in and see who all is here and let me know what you're drinking. I'm guessing it might be an Arran. But hey, Jimmy Jazz, great to see you, and Mo. Mike Molasses, thanks for being here. Jimmy, you just did a 10K bike ride through Glencoe, though you're in the States. Thanks to Peloton. That's awesome. I would that would be inspiring to actually pedal all that way, just as you were imagining yourself going through Glencoe. Goodness, that's yeah. You need to hydrate first before you maybe have some drams for sure. Yeah, great to see everybody. Hey, Hoagie, happy New Year to you too. Thanks for being here, friend. And in the wee hours of the morning, Sugar Kitty, meow, and happy New Year, friend. Thanks for being here. Pretty stoked for today and what we're going to be doing. This guy was the MVP of December with his advent calendar, which I know I still owe you a couple of drams I have to make up for. But yeah, so George, you and Amy, all the best in this year, and little RD2 there in his little his avatar, of course. We are in a pretty hellacious thunderstorm right now. It was 78 today. And a cold front's kind of coming through, and when cold and heat hit and boom booms happen. So fingers crossed we keep electricity and internet service tonight. So if you do hear a little rumbling in the back, it's Mother Nature doing her thing. Katie, good to see you. Looking forward to seeing you in a couple weeks back down here. Awesome. Yay. And this guy, hey, Zach, good seeing you. And Martin's here. Happy New Year, friend. Yeah, I'm pretty stoked. So yes, and the answer is yes to your question. By the way, yes, it is way early. Carlos is here. Hey, friend, thanks for being in, and happy New Year to you too. So yeah, the holidays were a whirlwind. We had some really fun live shows during December, and talking about Advent calendar and traditions of Louisiana holidays. And if you didn't catch Mark's video that we did, he narrated the Cajun Night Before Christmas, and it's really a fun little video. We literally decided to do it on the spur of a moment and put it out for Christmas Eve, and it's like 5 minutes. It's a lot of fun. So catch that. And then most everybody's got their whiskey of the year videos out right now. And we did the live show before Christmas were my wow whiskeys, ones that I was really taken aback and got my attention. So not necessarily they weren't new whiskeys for sure. They were just new to me, or ones I encountered. And so we did some fun things like that right before the holidays. Had some fun whiskey things. My brother gave me a really cool whiskey shirt, and we've had some fun things going on. Santa's helper was able to bring a couple of these bottles back here. Santa's helper is on tonight. Her name is Katie. And so that's kind of what Santa brought under there, theoretically under the tree. For me was the 17 and the 21 Old Pulteney's that I've been like, you always want to go after a discontinued, right? But the 21 was one that I had not had, and I've been kind of chasing. And I don't really chase bottles, but that one that one I'd been wanting to really find. So it was a good Christmas. It was great and just nice and chill with my family. And we kind of had a tumultuous one last year and health wise, and everybody was good. Everybody's great. Let's just hold it between the ditches and keep going, you know? So I hope everybody had a wonderful Christmas. And before we get into these two side by sides, and we'll talk about that in a second, I want to say Sunday afternoon, special show. Roy is going to be on with me Sunday at 3 p.m. Central. So that's 9 p.m. UK time. So, and I'll put out stuff on social about all of that. But he and I are going to do a show together in the afternoon. So it's a little bit more palatable for those over in the UK and in Europe to, have attendance for that. But we're going to be talking about whiskey resolutions. It's the new year, and how do resolutions or, thought processes around whiskey, how does that really apply to whiskey? So we're gonna kick around a few things about that, talk a little bit about my trip that I'm planning for the next summer. And while we're doing all of that, we're going to go through a blind that Andrew has sent to both of us. So pretty stoked about that. Again, this Sunday, the 8th, and I'll put all of the reminders out on the social. So let's see who else is here. Oh, Daniel's here. Hey, good to see you, Daniel. Appreciate you being here. Awesome. I hope Santa was good to you. I bet. Sugar Kitty is grabbing one of their Arran 14s for this tasting. Just before you get a cat nap. So Arran, and I'm probably giving that the real good Southern pronunciation of it instead of Arran. I'm going to try to be royal. Arran. Island kind of, it just has so many of the attributes that I absolutely adore in a whiskey. And the 14 is the one that brought me to the table. And I'm sure I can get a hands up and a hallelujah chorus over the 14. One of my very first camp dram reviews. I'm sitting at the end of the dock, camp hair, no makeup, don't care, and just enjoying Mother Nature, the gorgeous surroundings, and having that absolutely delightful dram, which of course is now discontinued. So if you can find that purple 14, Arran, grab that sucker and run like hell, because I'm gonna tell you, it is an absolute buy. And I think Molasses, I just saw your quote. You had a comment about you had the 14, you had a couple of those stashed back, but you weren't going to open it until they decided to make the 14 again. I get you. I understand. I totally understand. Zach Andrews is the reason I've got the 14s because he was able to grab some of those in Texas for me before they all went poof. So Zach is making it possible for you to participate in the live stream. Thank you. I appreciate. Thank you, Zach. You're awesome at that. Of course you are. So what other ones you said? So you have time to let the bothy. It's a quarter cast, right? Age for some more, and then reintroduce the Arran 12. I gotcha. Yeah. Zach is the Arran plug. Zach does plug Arran. He plugs Arran about as much as he does Balcones, and that's a lot. And we appreciate it because I don't know where I would be without Arran in my life. Am I right? Oh goodness. So yeah, we've got two expressions, and what I've done tonight, the new Arran, the new packaging, the new Arran 10 has literally been the belle of the ball. I mean, she's been Miss Congeniality, she's been Miss Popularity, she's been all that in a bag of chips. Everybody loves that dram. I think I've had a couple samples, like from a bottle pour, but have not opened my Arran 10 yet until tonight. And then the Arran 10 I had, the older expression, that one, I think I had one pour out of it a while, and I don't even know if we did open that. I'll have to ask Mark. So what I got Mark to do, my husband Mark, is I didn't really want to, it's pretty much we've got 2 bottles. So we've got the Arran tin in the old packaging and the Arran tin in the new packaging. See what I mean? So, and there is somewhat of a color difference, but I got him to do me a blind challenge. So he has set up 2 glasses for me, and I'm sure y'all can, decide which one you think which one is. But knowing that they're both ex bourbon and sherry cask maturation, my wonder was, and I didn't do a whole lot of research on this because I kind of wanted just to taste it differently. Then I'll kind of go back and do more. But is there a lot of difference between the old and the new? One of my favorite bands is the Avett Brothers, and they have a song called Down with the Shine. And if you saw my story on Instagram, that's that song. It's in with the new and out with the old. You know, do we like the new one because it's new? Or do we like the new one because and it's got pretty packaging? Or do we like the new one because it tastes better and is better? And of course, that's always subjective, right? Because our taste is our own. So, what I want to do is just kind of put these drams again side by side and kind of go through that. So, that's what we're doing tonight. Saw somebody else in here real quick. I want to say hello to, and that's Barter. Hey, friend. Thanks. Watch the replay, but I want to make sure you understand. I really do appreciate you becoming a camp drammer. So thank you for joining the channel, and know that you're already helping support my craziness on here. So thanks so much, Barter. Barter found us on the Malt Madness SMWS challenge. So I appreciate that. That and Rich Cannon, the 2 of them have been our latest camp grammars. So awesome. So yeah, if you have an Arran, pour it. If you don't, pour what you want, and we'll get into these 2. So so my husband Mark poured these 2 Arrans. Both, full disclosure, the older bottle had been opened. Now I remember it had been opened, but I think only 1 pour came out of it. And then the new Arran tin had not been opened. He had to open that and seal it. Hey, Andrew, I was talking about you. You missed it. So I just reminded everybody about Sunday, and Roy and I are going to do a show on whiskey resolutions while we do your blind challenge. Okay. So, color wise, I think there's a difference. Let me do this to where I think there's a difference. I think this one's a little lighter than this one. And quite frankly, especially in this darker room, like that's all lit up and this is lit up, but all of this down here is not lit up. It's dark. I can't really tell a difference between the bottles as they are. And I purposely didn't study them, like go ahead, like ahead of time. So on the nose, and we're just gonna, and also Mark numbered on 1 and 2. Mark's colorblind, so we don't have color dots on our blinds here. There are stickers on the bottles. I don't know what those are, so I'm just gonna go with 1 is my left, and 2 is my right, and we'll just go from there. And really, I'm not trying to pick out which is which. I just want to differentiate the 2 to see whether or not I can find differences in old versus new. Got a lot of malt and a little on 1. Okay. I'm going to put the topper back on these. Okay, 2 definitely smells more winey, more sherry-y. Is sherry-y a technical term? It's more sherified. How's that for a Southern accent? For younger bottles, a 10. Where'd it go? Sugar Kitty was saying, telling Daniel that for younger bottles at 10, Glencaddam and Arran are two of the good ones. Yeah, I really enjoy the Glencaddam 10. It's lighter to me. Um, thank you for having my back, Daniel. Sharing is a word. Yeah. Um, yeah, Andrew says he's colorblind too. My Mark, I learned early along, red and green are not something he can rarely, differentiate very well. Yeah, a lot more sherry on the nose on number 2 than number 1. So, and I get more malt on number 1 than I do number 2. But both very lovely, and I was lucky enough to get to enjoy, along with my classmates over in Iowa, we got to have a dinner with Jim McEwen, which it's like, okay, bucket list check, and he had us go through a tasting of some drams, and you're just like, is this real, is this real? And once you got over that part, you're really trying to listen hard. And he had us, look at the glass and twirl, and he said the very first thing, is there anything off-putting? The very first thing I'm going on a tasting, is there anything off-putting? Because that's what's usually gonna, you pay attention to that, and then if not, then you dive a little deeper, and you dive a little deeper into it. And while this is different than 2, it still smells really good. Oh man. Let's see. Okay. I'm digging the smells on these. So let me know of you that have had the Arran 10, if you've had both the old and new, because I want to ask a bunch of questions tonight, and we'll get down to preference, but I just want to know if you've had one, if you've had the old and the new one, or if you've just had one or the other. My market does not have the new one yet. I had to get that in Texas when I went over in August for a work thing. But they had the old Arrans, and a couple places that have them have a couple, more than a couple, and they're going to have to sell those until, at which point then they'll get the new ones, because you can't blame them. Okay, this is number 1. And I did not pregame ahead of time. Probably should have had a drink with something, but I kind of wanted a really fresh palate for this. So Andrew doesn't do colorblind either, and he didn't color our samples, our blind for the blind challenge next week. He used Latin names on our aromatherapy samples. So I did not take Latin, but I know a wee bit of Spanish, and maybe that'll help. So we'll see. And then Sugar Kitty says the Glencaddam is light and bright, like a lemony white wine. That's a really good. And Aaron's more like a semi-dry Riesling. And Riesling's one of my favorite things. That's a really great comparison. I have to bring that up to my friend Jennifer. She's the wine girl too. Okay. One. All right. Both of these are 46 ABV, not chill filtered, all the fun stuff, all the right stuff, right? All the right stuff. It's not, I don't get hung up on non-age statements or, well, I do kind of, when it comes to ABV, because I like a decent ABV. So 46 is lovely. I enjoy that very well. But so they're both, they're both set on the ABV on that. Both theoretically have bourbon sherry cask. I get a lot more malt and well, the bourbon characteristics on this one. Not much sherry on the taste on one. Um, there is that a little bit of drying in the finish of it. A little sourness, kind of a little wood tone there, maybe. But it's not hot, it's not acetone, anything like that. Hmm, interesting. So Huggy says that as pertains to Arran 10, you slightly prefer the new version, and the old 18 liked better than the differences are a lot bigger there. Got one of those and need to crack open too. Very cool. Awesome. Oh, saw this guy come in. Hey, friend. Happy New Year to you. Um, you wonderful old whiskey fabric. I know you just want to curl up in all of our people and say, I'm home, you know? Um, so yeah. Hmm. So Barter was on earlier, and there are quite a few of you that are camp drammers, and I just want to say again a big thank you for that, for the support. And it's already making a big difference. Before I get into the taste on number 2 here, 2 weeks from tomorrow, I'm flying to Seattle to then go to Victoria Whiskey Festival for that week. I'm super stoked. Chad Anderson, who you see on here very often, he's going to be there. My friend Terry Lamb, she's unbottling by Terry on Instagram. She's going to be there. And then my crazy Thelma and Louise counterparts, Jennifer, is meeting me up there. And we're so super stoked about that. But I wanted to get some gear to do some better interviews. And the support from the camp drummers has helped me secure a couple of really important things. And I want to share those things with you tonight. And that is, okay, so I had my tripod. I love my little tiny tabletop one, but I needed a really good phone holder to put my phone in to do my videos, because when I'm traveling, I actually do them on my phone as opposed to my big camera. And I was able to get this. It's super lightweight and it's aluminum. So it's very durable. So I was able to purchase that. And wait, there's more. I'm super stoked about this because I'm going to be doing some interviews, and I needed a way for the mics to pick both of us up and not really a shotgun mic where you're going to hear a lot of ambient noises. So I was able to get this kit that has 2 wireless lavalier mics. So in a little case, and it's super easy to travel with. And I will be taking this to Scotland too. So again, thank you for supporting the channel. And that's exactly what that support does, is help me get this kind of stuff to hopefully bring really great content back to you all. So thanks again for all of that. I really appreciate it. Cool. Hey, Peter, good to see you. Beware those BC taxes. You get some shelter points and 2 brews while you're there. Okay. I've got some folks in there that will tell me like what that is. I have 2 Canadians that are going to walk me through the whole thing. I really appreciate it. Now, let me tell you about this guy right here. This guy knows his scotch, of course. Jason, Merry Christmas and happy freaking New Year, friend. I could not have gone down by a better foe in the Malt Madness Challenge. And if you did not see that episode with me and Jason for the Mash and Drum, it is well worth it, because not only do I get absolutely adorable after those 4 drams of SMWS cast strength whiskey, we were just like, we were on it. We were aligned. Our palates were like, it was awesome. It was awesome. And this guy was very sweet and said, if I win, I'll buy you a bottle. And damn if he didn't. And damn if it didn't show up before Christmas. So dude's awesome. as if he needed one more person to. If you are one of the only few people on the planet that don't know about his channel, the Bash and Drum, check him out. He's got a palette for days. And thank you, friend. I really appreciate it as always. And you have to tell me what you're thinking, what you think, Jason, about Arran 10. Okay. Again, I'm getting a lot more fruity notes on this number 2 and sherry than I did that number 1. Interesting. Yeah, you said you were going to send the bottle. You did. I know you're a man of your word. And it's called Deceptively Dangerous. I think it's like, you may think it drinks like a 46, but it's a 63.9 Glenlossie, I think is what it is. Mm. That's very interesting. I may have to have one more sip just to confirm my thoughts there. This is number 2, the one that smells more sherry, slightly darker. And it definitely has a more rounder mouthfeel than the first one. That's very different. It also tastes a little hotter. That's interesting. Getting much more fruit on this one, on number 2, than number 1. More malt, more vanilla, bourbony kind of, little honey on the first one. Not so much burnt sugar. But the second one, the mouthfeel feels a little bit oilier, a little more rounded out, if you will. That's nice. That's very nice. So Jason says that the Arran 10 for him is very summery, lots of melon and fruit. Interesting on the melon part. Definitely getting the fruit on the number 2. So Jason, I don't know if you caught the crux of it, but I've got the old and the new expression of Arran 10. So that's what I'm going through. The first one, number 1, much maltier and more bourbon matured forward, though both of them are supposed to be bourbon and sherry cask. You know, it's funny you talk about this being a summer dram. Today was like a summer day, y'all. 78. I mean, come on. We were in the 20s Christmas week, which was crazy. Moving half of all my plants inside. And we got a lot we got to clean up in the yard because of that freeze, which we don't normally get, right? Not down here. And then today it's hot. It's a bit of a chore sometimes to drink whiskey down here in the summertime. And a highball on a hot summer day is one of the best ways to drink that. I don't know that I would use this. I think I would maybe use a couple of other things besides this in a highball. But I can see where you're getting the summery light. It's not heavy, it's not, even though it's sherry, it's got some sherry maturation to it. It's certainly not heavy and, deep red fruits and feeling like you might need to take a nap afterward. I guess that depends on how many you have. You might need the nap after that. For sure. Very cool. Let's see. Okay, the Shelter Point reviews. Actually, my friend, yes. I'm pretty sure my friend's going there. She was talking about that today. I vote the one is the old, that one is the older version, and you're calling it now? I'm kind of thinking you're probably right. Finish wise, I need to pay attention to that some more. Let me see what. 10-1. You don't see see me review one, but that's awesome. Can't wait to see how she likes them. We'll see. The old one is more summer dram for me with the zesty oranginess, another technical term, among other flavors. Yet the new one is a notch more to your liking. That's interesting, Hoagie. Yeah, and kind of also depends on your mood, like what you had. We had a grilled chicken salad tonight. Two is just more viscous to me. And even in the glass, it looks more oily and definitely drinks hotter on the finish. And kind of makes me wonder, was it longer sherry European oak maturation? Because I mean, at 46%, they're even. They're Eddie steady. Interesting. I'm gonna give my palate a rest here. So while I'm kind of buying time with my with my taste buds, what all did anybody get any fun bottles for Christmas this year? Any to me from me's, which are some of the best gifts you kind of get. Never disappointed with those. So most talking about, yeah, those orange notes, that Oban Distillers edition, that I get orange all day long, chocolate and orange on that one. Goodness. So first and foremost, they are very different. Arran did not just take this bottle and the juice that's in it and say, let's give it a different label. That is not, there's no way. These actually taste very, very different to me. I mean, kind of going by the taste. I don't know. I'm not ready to say which one I like best yet. I'm just kind of plowing through this. I thought it would take us a little longer than it has, but it's 2 drams. Let's see. I want to see what everybody, we're gonna have FOMO with all these wonderful. So Michael got is that a Balkan or Balnellen Speyside? And a Macaire Bay from Kilhoman. I absolutely love that distillery. So was the Macaire Bay the regular or was it cast strength? I've seen those floating around. I haven't seen one near me at all. Martin, the Annock 18. Absolutely love that dram. A Longmorn 16, Yum, and a Kilkerran 16. Those are lovely. I've the Annock I just absolutely adore. I've had some Longmorns and of course Kilkerran, absolutely. I don't have that 16. I think Zach has it and he's raved about it. Molasses got Craigallachie 23. Wow, that's stunning, I bet. Have you had it yet? Have you cracked it open yet? Ooh, I bet that was really nice. So Andrew got it to me from me. Bought yourself Thompson's Brother North British 30-year-old single grain. Oh, wow. Very interesting. So independent bottler and a single grain just means grain from a single distillery. North British 30-year. Wow. Hey, Alan, good to see you. Thanks for being here tonight and sharing. Lockley. Oh my goodness. My man, John Campbell. Doing great things there, I hear. Harvest Edition. Very cool. I know that you will absolutely adore that. I'm hearing super fun things about that. Uh, um, Gregor's traveling again. He made another quick trip over to Scotland, and then it looks like he's going to Germany for work and then back over. Mm, goodness, back over to Scotland. He's helping me out. I am getting very ambitious in my planning of my trip. So, we were all set to go over in 2020 June with the Scotch for Dummies guys, and my husband Mark and I were going to go and be a week with that crazy group headed all around Scotland with them, and then we were going to do a week on our own. And of course, the world changed. So I've had these vouchers from British Airways burning a hole in my pocket since June of 2020. And we're finally figuring things out. But I'll be going back over to Scotland, and I got a dog trying to get in the door. Going back over in the May June area, so I'm pretty stoked about that. And Gregor's been helpful. He's been my conscience and my levity when I'm like, can I do this, do this, this, this? And I think he's about to tell me you're a little ambitiously trying to get through there. So let me go back. Hoagie's got some trivia for us. The old version was actually a big rebranding, introducing the nice color scheme and the port Amarone Sauternes as regular bottlings. Okay, because those all have the same labeling. Interesting. That's interesting. Very cool. So Peter gave himself a bottle, yay, of the Amroot Spectrum 004 in Benromic Peat Sherry. There's something about peat and sherry. I don't know if it's that smoky sweet thing, if it's because I'm Southern, I like barbecue sauce, but the idea of the smoke and the peat and that sweet of the sherry and the stewed fruits. I think that's why I love Lore as much as I do. It's just so one of my favorites. A lot of the Kilhoman uh, wine castings are sweet, but they've got that little bit of smoke. And don't get me started on the sherry Kilkerrans, because all of those just taste like a steak in a bottle to me. So, yum. Thoughts on Loch Lomond 12, the 46 ABV, only $40. Had to roll the dice. Very well money spent. Absolutely. It's a solid dram. The ones that they're coming out with now, it kind of depends on when you bought it and like which bottling is. If it's a newer one, and especially the ones that are the US Open, I mean not the US Open, but the Open, meaning they're open, not the US Open. So those actually have the yeast is a Chardonnay yeast that they're using in that. So there's a little bit of a fizzy characteristic, not pop rocks, but you're getting a little bit of fizz off of that, kind of an effervescence on the finish, I find. The older Loch Lomonds, I think, are still pretty solid, but I don't know that they use that yeast strain. So yeah, $40, well spent, buddy, well spent. And you're gonna have to tell me. So when Jason won the Malt Madness SMWS, he won $1,000 gift certificate. So he's going to get to go shopping. I'm sure he's cherry picking his bottles out as he wants. But yeah, so he's going to have some hella green bottles on his shelf pretty soon, for sure. So Daniel got the Amroot unpeated cask strength, interesting, and a Kilkerran 8 Portwood. I'm looking for that Portwood, dude. And a Lucky 7 Proprietor 14 year. Wow. I'd say that was a nice haul. Everybody's got a nice haul. My goodness. Okay, so yeah, Michael, thank you. So Balnellen is the total wine offering. It's NAS. Um, but it has the limit above the title. I gotcha. I gotcha. That makes sense. That makes sense now. Thanks. Oh, and you just happen to get a Macallan Classic cut too. Yeah. Lovely. Lovely, friend. That's awesome. That's really great. Um, yeah. Goodness. Um, yeah. So I'm gonna go back to on the taste on this again. It still tastes a little hotter. I thought about putting water on it, but at 46%, I was like, I'm gonna leave it alone. But it's had time to open up a little bit. And then one. Yeah, I'm still getting on one, what's left of it. Much more bourbon notes, much more on the sherry note. I think the finish is about the same length. Um, Number two, I'm getting more of a fruity, not quite stewed, not a heavy sherry bomb fruit, but more like a bowl of fresh berries, strawberries, plums, maybe a raisin or two in there. Mm. But I think I know which is which. Oh, yeah. So Lot Lemon is really they have come through like an evolution. So you know, they do have those variations of Inchmere and Inchmoen, and those are some SMWS has some of those too. One of them I think we had, or I was going back and looking at the replay the other day. I can't remember which round it was, but somebody had one of the Inchmoens. Um, and so they're doing, but the same group who owns them owns Glen Scotia. And Glen Scotia has always just been the redheaded stepchild. I mean, they've been bought and sold more times and shut down and back and forth. And whoever's owning them now, they're putting some money into them, and they're really giving them their due, and they're allowing them to make really good whiskey. And so I think Loch Lomond is they've got they can make a million different things, but I think for their in and out, their 12 is a good steady dram for sure. Yeah, me. Thank you. Melissa even agrees with me there for sure. Yeah, you got to crack that one open soon, friend. You must. You must. Um, hey, Chad. I was talking to you. Talking to you and talking about you. 2 weeks, buddy. 2 weeks, and we had a little snafu on the travel. So yes, I'm going to Victoria in 2 weeks from tomorrow, and only to find out that all the ferries from Seattle to Victoria are shut down and in dry dock. Can you believe? So Jennifer and I have been scrambling to figure out how we're actually getting from Seattle to Victoria. I think we haven't figured it out. I think, and it will not be a remake of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. It came real close, but I think we're going to make it. I know we're going to make it, but it was a little bit of a fright this afternoon when I was like, "What do you mean you don't have a ferry going across the Puget Sound?" I was about to get all Karen, and poor guy couldn't help it. He doesn't steer the boat, So, but yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So, Trooper, Chad, tell me quickly what you think about the old versus the new Arran 10, because I'm about to tell you what I think for sure. Good to see you, friend. Yes. I'm glad the Wi-Fi is working. You probably had some storms too. We had one come through here right before the show started, and I had Angel's over here knocked out because we gave her some I don't give a damn medicine because of the storms, and I've had another one trying to get through the door. But yeah, so we've got electricity, and I'm happy with that. but you're gonna have to tell me what you think. Hey, Brian, Sandra friend, Brian Kilco Whiskey Musings. Check him out. Um, polka dot, polka dot, polka, polka. You know, yeah, I thought about that. I really did. We watched that over Christmas, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, it was such a funny show." John Candy was so absolutely hilarious, and God bless him, the Canadian he was, right? But yeah, so we will get to Victoria one way or the other. It's going to be an adventure. Um, so old versus new, 1 and 2. So Mark put on the back 1 and 2 on these, so I knew what the glasses were. I'm saying 1 is the old and 2 is the new. So I'm going to pick up the old bottle here. Make sure the lid's on there. And I'm going to go, and it's 1. And that means that 2, put this down without breaking it. 2 is the new bottle. You know, you could kind of tell with the color difference, but it tasted more sherry. 2 tasted more sherry. So that was definitely that there. Hey, good to see you. Distilled, brewed, and reviewed. Awesome. Thanks for being in here and joining us tonight. And you'll have to let me know what you think about we're doing old versus new of Arran 10. You know, Arran overall has, I mean, I've loved everything that they've come up with. Again, that 14 is just that's Bay, right? And I do have more than a couple of bottles, especially thanks to Zach, tucked back of that. And I've shared that with a ton of people. That one is very, very balanced. Up against the 10, the 14 is still more my jam. I really enjoy that. These are really good, but I wouldn't think that they were the same thing. I mean, they taste very, very different. The old 10 is a little bit more like that Glencadam 10 to me. It's more bourbon forward. It's lighter. This is a little 2 is a little heavier. I may have to pour just a little bit more to see. I love the fact that they have Braille on their labeling too. I think that's cool. Arran is a destination on our trip. We just hope it won't get cut because Leanne's ambitious and trying to see how much she can see of Scotland in 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. You did call it. You did. It's. I'll take another dram. And you did call it. So Hoagie, tell me about your Christmas tasting. I had a wonderful Christmas tasting with friends with Dimple Pinch 12 from the 60s. Holy smoke, friend. Pity Walk 30. Man, the boom. Oh, you told me about that Bemore 26 red wine barrique. And some other 20-plus-year-old beauties. Yes. Oh goodness, man. That sounds delightful. Delightful. Yeah, I think we all need to take a road trip to Berlin. Go see Hoagie. Yeah, this too. I would call the new Arran Sherry Light. It's got a punch. That finish has got a quick punch, and then it just whooshes out. There's no residual heat. It's just it gets you kind of right on the sides, and then it's gone. It's Not even like the Kentucky Hug warm thing. It's all palate. Mm, man alive. You know, 2023 is the year of me. That's what I'm going. That's my story and I'm sticking to it, Brian. Um, Life's freaking short. And I was we were all landlocked for 2 years. I'm gonna go see and do as much as I can. Um, a woman from South Louisiana is about to go to freaking British Columbia, Canada in January. Thankfully, it's temperate there, and it's not like I've been telling Chad I don't own a coat that would keep me warm where he lives. I don't own a coat that probably would keep me warm in Chicago, much less up in the middle of Canada. So I'm thankful that with all the water mass around Victoria, it won't be too bad. I'm sure the wind will be something from time to time, but mm, yeah, goodness. And I think it's good to be. I'll really enjoy that people shared their to me from me Christmas presents. Not too many people said I was gifted this. It's like I bought this for myself and I bought that, and those who would want to buy you something are happy that you bought what you bought for yourself because they don't know. They don't know, and they want to make sure you get something that you want, and that's kind of the best way to do it. Um, so yeah, so that incredible that Bamore, that's another right, another smoky sweet. I mean, you're gonna get the rich tannin. I can just imagine what that tastes like hoagie because of that red wine maturation and the barrique and having a little bit of kick from that oak spice. Um Man, yeah. And you're right, they can be kind of hit and miss, but that old and with Bamar, you would think they would get that right. Um so yeah, Peter, tell us what you think about that. So I have a bottle. I'd like to know. Um, so Hoagie says, and they topped off the tasting with an Octomore 6.3. That's an old one. I can't even. I mean, if a little bit, I could Google and figure out what that maturation was. All of those Octomores are just so interesting, and they're so heavily peated. But you kind of get to the point where it's like it doesn't matter. They just taste so good. It just doesn't really matter. Mm-mm-mm. Pour more for science. I did. So that's your second bottle, Peter. Okay. Okay. So we talked about preference a little bit and who had what. So of the 10, of the old and the new 10, which do you all prefer? I think it's going to be a mood thing for me. Although I am kind of going towards the new, just because I do like that sherry. I think it's a little bit more interesting. Not that the first one isn't, but this kind of has a different depth to it. The viscosity was a little more robust. Let me say it's kind of hard to come up with good descriptors on that you can say on TV. Yeah, really interesting. The heat just pow on the palate and then poof, it's gone. You get no smoke, no hint of char or really anything on it. Mm-mm. So if Daniel, Peter is on his second bottle of the sherry 10-year Lafroig, then I'm guessing he likes it. You've heard it here first, folks. Um, Brian, you couldn't try to be less interesting, buddy. You're such an interesting person. And I mean that in the very best way because the same is so boring. Who wants boring? Not me. Yep. So this is not just window dressing in a new label. So so King Street, Compass Box King Street and Glasgow Blend, those both got new packaging. Same absolute juice inside. Um, but that's not the case with the Arran. With the Arran 10, they definitely, I mean, I'm assuming, and I want to go back and do some more research. I didn't want to do that because I like to know what I'm talking about before I get into something. But I didn't want to do a lot of that ahead of this because I didn't want to have like a preconceived idea about what they were. I didn't want to read a whole lot and say, oh, well, the Arran 10's been in sherry cask for, 2 years as opposed to, 12 months or something. I didn't want to learn that much about it ahead of time. But now, of course, I do. Now I got to know all the details. But my assumptions, which could be scary, is that the new Arran 10 had either better sherry casks that it sat in for however long, or and I'm assuming it was a marriage of ex bourbon cask and sherry casks. But whatever that mix was for the new or number two version of Arran 10 had more potent sherry influence than the older version for sure. Nothing to take away from the older version. Zach Andrews, guy likes his bourbon matured whiskey. This would be, I could see your wheelhouse. I could see you preferring this over the new 10 just because of the more prevalent bourbon matured notes in it. So awesome. Well, that was really interesting. I hope y'all found that interesting. I mean, it's just my palate, So the new branding, the Arran 10 looks much lighter than yours. I can't find anything on the bottle that identifies the date. Huh. Yeah. Lots of luck on that, me finding that in this dark. Usually they have those cryptic things down at the bottom. Oh, there's one. Yeah, buddy, it's on there. It's in that kind of etch thing right at the bottom. So this was it looks like 17/8/21. So I would say that was August 17th, 21 that this was bottled on this one. I don't know if I can make out what the bottling was for the old one. Let's see. Okay, here it is. Oh, wow. This is very old. So, I mean, very old, as in just about as old as my whiskey journey. This was June 27, 2017. So, this is 2017 and 2021. So, definitely do the math, 4 years difference. Interesting. Very interesting. So maybe that'll give you a data point to go by. Really cool. So, yeah, if you can help us out with a big thumbs up, helps with the algorithm. Say that 5 times after 2 drams. And we have had a flurry of subscribers, which is awesome. My goal was to hit 1,200 at the by Christmas, and we did, and we're well over that now. We have folks joining the Camp Drammer membership to help support the channel, which is already helping us get some gear to do some really fun things up in Victoria, and when I get over to Scotland to do some more interviews over there. So I'm super stoked about that. Again, Sunday. So you get to not only see me next Tuesday, which I'm not quite sure what we're doing Tuesday, but next Sunday, finally, Andrew Butler has sent over ages ago the blind challenge he had for me, and he ended up getting one to Roy Aquavite. And so Roy is joining me on my show on Sunday afternoon, 3 p.m. Central, and that would be 9 p.m. UK time. And we're going to talk about whiskey resolutions. And since we're into the new year, and some of us say, oh, I'm not going to buy as much as I did last year, or I'm only going to do this, or what are those things that you're resolving to do around your whiskey enthusiasm? So we're going to talk about those things on Sunday the 8th coming up. And I'm really stoked about that because he's such a great he's just a great supporter. And I'm stoked, Andrew, that we finally have got the planets aligned between his schedule, my bad internet that's finally resolved. Thank you, AT&T, and his schedule. We've got it all figured out. That's really cool. So everybody's looking at their date codes. I love it. Martin's got September 6th, 2022, Mo's September 2020. So yours is a little earlier than mine. Interesting. And then Martin's right after mine. Interesting. So Huggy says it looks like some folk really miss the sherried Lafroy triple wood these days. Yeah. We do limit those things that get discontinued, but odds are we're going to find something we really like afterwards. Hey, Andrew, glad you did join in with us. Thanks for being here. And I hope you can come join us again. Pop in. Roy and I just love the guy. He's such a dear friend. And he's so sweet to take the time to come on to the show and to visit. And we've already been conspiring about when I'm over when I'm over there next summer. This coming summer. What am I saying? It's like 6 months away from now. We're gonna have a little time. So we'll be talking whiskey, but the show is just gonna be me and Roy bantering back. So that's worth the hour of watching it for sure. But no, seriously, y'all, I hope you have an absolutely wonderful new year. Thank you again so very much for all the support. Bottom line, both Arran 10s, old and new, are really tasty drams. I'm thinking the new is edging out from my palate a bit, but whatever whiskey that you have enjoyed that you want to share, do so with those that you love. Do it responsibly. Have a wonderful, safe, healthy new year. And I will see you on Sunday. Until then, it's on to y'all.